Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a 23-year-old competitive boulderer from Canada, currently living in Montreal. Welcome back to the COMPCLIMB training series, where I record most of my training, provide in-depth analysis of every session, and just chat about climbing with an emphasis on competition. So here we are back again trying this yellow boulder. So in the last episode where I was trying this, I made a bold promise that I would retro flash it, sorry. I would do it on my first try of the next session. And here we go, we're off to a good start. I do the match, and then it was actually quite a good attempt, but I wasn't quite ready to hold that crimp. And so I'm obviously using the cross method that I discovered at the end of the session, which was quite unfortunate because I realized just how good it was, and I only discovered it at the end. So I had a bit of confidence trying it again today, and I can use the cross method right away. But as you can see, I'm moving on from it quite fast, and that is because in the last episode, I really couldn't control myself, and I just threw myself at that yellow boulder too many times, and my hands and my skin got too warm, and I really wasn't embracing the stick factor of that boulder, which is obviously the biggest factor. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna put 3 tries max on this boulder and then move on from it if I don't do it. And then I can come back to it when my skin is a bit different. So here we are moving on to this black boulder. And this was a new white tape up in the gym that they were setting this section when we were climbing at Allez Up last. And this boulder is also hard. So we are continuing with the theme from the last Allez Up session where the setters are really upping the difficulty of the white tapes since the first few sets that when we were climbing in Montreal. So this one is definitely more my style than the others. So I'd say it's probably like the same difficulty as the yellow, if not actually like a harder boulder. But since it suits me quite a bit more, I think I just have a better time on it. So this second last move is really intense. This right hand sloper is incredibly bad. Like, it's one of those slopers where when you first grab it, you kind of think, oh man, I don't think I can hold this. This move kind of feels impossible. But then the more I kind of learn the subtleties on how to grab the right hand sloper, it feels more and more possible. And so I stopped trying that to revisit yellow with some different feeling to skin, but we'll come back to the black one. So here we go, look at this. I'm already off to a really great start revisiting this boulder. I stick the match immediately, and I was really thankful that I embraced the stick factor, walked away, let my skin sort of reset, and now you can see that my tries are better. And you can see how I'm getting quite frustrated with this move. And the reason is, it's because every time like this, I get my hand on the crimp, I can't express how much it feels like I've stuck the move. Like all of those tries, I think, man, I just did it, yes. But then my pinky kind of slips, and then all of a sudden the move sort of just fails, but I can't tell why. It feels like I'm holding it. But anyway, I finally stick it, and I bet you think this is a Sengo right here. I bet you think it's a Sengo. No, it's not the Sengo. I had a heartbreaking foot slip on that left, and I was prepared to just walk away from the boulder there because, yeah, the last move was hard, but I stuck it a few times individually, and at this point, this is like suboptimal for training to continue trying this boulder. I've gotten like the value from the boulder. I've sort of stuck all the moves, but that was the most triggering thing. I said, okay, it gets at least like 2 more goes from a finish dropper like that. And I stick the move again immediately. And actually, I should mention something. So both of those attempts that I stuck the move on, this paddle move, I did something that I didn't do on any of my other 100 tries. And that was, I actually, while I was resting before that boulder, I was blowing on my hands. So I was just breathing like on my hands. As I would inhale, I'd inhale through my nose and exhale through my mouth, just on my fingertips. And this is sort of mimicking a fan, you know. You see a lot of climbers, especially at the crag, the hardcore ones will bring like a fan to cool their skin off. And like some gyms will also have like sort of fans around, which is helpful, but there weren't any at Alley Up. So I was using my breath to cool my skin down, which is something that I haven't done a lot in the past. And I think it's actually just because, you know, coming from Ontario, the hard boulders are usually like overhanging with like positive holds that you have to grip really hard. And now that we've been in Montreal for a while, I'm really having to learn how to stick better. Like this boulder is another good example. This red white tape we were also trying in the last session. Definitely the hardest climb in the gym. As you can see, I'm like barely able to stick any moves on it. I wanted to see if this thing was possible, so I start trying it again. And I think it is definitely possible. All the moves definitely feel like I could do them, but actually kind of the demoralizing part about this boulder is that the first move is really, really hard to the point where, like, and low percentage, to the point where I don't actually think I could ever send that boulder, because the first move just probably makes the boulder, you know, 75% more low percentage or something to get the full send. So I moved back to this black thing because this feels doable, and I really, really like this boulder. But yeah, it's interesting how I'm really having to learn how to stick like the most optimally while I've been in Montreal. And so I think that using my breath or fans and using air to cool my skin down on really sticky boulders like that is going to be quite important going forward. And so, hey, check this out. We're making some progress on black. That was the first attempt where I realized that going two hands to the second last hold is definitely the way to do this boulder. And it's a crazy cool move. The hold that we're jumping to is by no means a jug, but it's definitely sort of like a rounded sloper that has a bit of an in cut. And it's like kind of weird to grab this hold with two hands. So you just have to kind of get lucky, hope you hit a good spot, and then smash your feet back into the wall to stop the spin. It's very cool. And I had to try like really hard on this boulder. You gotta just squeeze on those slopers out of the launch position, and then just superhero move kind of high up on the wall too. Definitely takes a bit of commitment. And that boulder is probably one of my favorite boulders that's been set in Alley Up recently. That one was super, super sick. The moves on that were cool. The holds are really cool, and it was my style. That was a fun boulder. And so I wanted to just make sure that this one was really like felt out of my reach. So I put a couple tries on the first move, and I think that, like I said, maybe if the first move was like easy, I would feel more confident that I could do this boulder. But because the first move is so low percentage, like the one attempt I stick that, you have to execute on the end. So I think that that boulder is just like a little bit beyond me. And I think going forward as well, I'm gonna try to keep every boulder that I work to a 2-session limit, or like a 2-day limit. So if I work a boulder for 2 different days, I'm gonna try to move on because there's just so many boulders in Montreal to get to. So later on that same day, I made my way over to BETA BLOC, and it was mostly to get back on this boulder. This red slopey boulder is probably the hardest boulder up at BETA BLOC right now. And we tried it quite a little bit in our episode like a couple weeks ago when we first got back to Montreal. And here I am actually sticking this last move for the first time. I was really struggling with that ending sequence in the first session we were trying this. And I don't know what was different on this session, but I just felt, oh, okay, well, I mean, it took me a while to discover, like to realize that I could actually use the left foot out left for the last move. And like I discovered it quite late and I was tired and I couldn't stick the last move. So I was just quite a bit fresher, and that allowed me to stick the last move quite comfortably. So I was psyched. That meant if I could make my way through the beginning, the send was could be in my grasp. That being said, making your way up there is the hardest part. And you saw that I thought if I could maybe skip the second hold and just go up to the better flat hold, but I gave it a couple tries and I ruled it out. It felt just a little too hard. So that meant that I had to use this absolutely terrible second sloper. Like you can, especially as we work this boulder a lot, you're gonna see just the crazy variance in all of my attempts. And like this right hand sloper is just on the absolute limit of me being able to stick to it and actually use it as a hold. It's just so bad. And the biggest thing that I actually learned on how to use this hold, you saw that was a pretty good try, was once you hit it, like as soon as you do the move up to it, you can't readjust on it at all, because any little bit of like slipping around and sweat that you obtain from adjusting on that hold means I'm not going to stick the next move. So that was like a big sort of epiphany I had on this move. You can see like I hit it and I don't adjust. And then here we got quite a good try. I thought I had it there. And then I think my right hand was just slipping a bit. And I was like, that try I realized, oh, okay, I could actually do this move. The first few tries, I sort of was like, this feels a bit beyond me. And I kind of was, my next few tries, I wasn't putting like confident tries on, thinking that I could do it. And then I realized too late that I actually had what it took to stick that move. And by then I was just like losing my stick, and that boulder was just so like flip-floppy. I think I won't try that boulder again because we've tried it 2 separate days, and that is going to be kind of the rule that I am going to try to stick to. So yeah, well, I think I made some progress. I think I stuck a couple moves that I didn't last time, and I think I definitely got some value from that boulder, but no send. So now we're moving on to another really hard boulder. I was informed a few days ago that there was a really hard 3-star comp boulder that was on the slab up at BETA BLOC. So I knew that I wouldn't just have the red boulder to try. I also had like a 5-star comp boulder on the slab to get to as well. And they are really, really good at setting slab at BETA BLOC. Super comp style movements, always something unique too. Like this jump up move is like not your standard jumping move. It's like really powerful. The volume that I'm stepping on with my left is on like an overhanging wall. So it's actually quite a lot worse than it looks. It's very slippery. It is like really, it's a crazy move, and it's very powerful too, because when you hit this crimp, there's no sort of like easy layback that you can do. It's a very powerful position, and it's super, super epic actually. And this move is also going to feature today's tip of the day. So the way that I found myself optimizing on this move and like really throwing my body into the position that was most optimal to hold this crimp, because it's just such a hard position to hold. You need to be in the perfect spot. It's really difficult to generate off an undercling like this and, you know, have as much power and force as possible to get into that good position. So the trick that I found, and I think that this trick is very applicable to any dyno that you're doing out of an undercling, especially when we're jumping upwards. Maybe not so much on a steep wall, but let's take a vert wall where we're dynoing out of an undercling, like this move. I treat it as like a two-step process, like a two-step move. So because it's like we're generating off an undercling, and what's different about dynoing off an undercling versus a downpull is on a downpull, you know, you can sort of ride it for as long as possible, and you can almost continue pressing downwards because our fingers can continually be grabbing the hold for a while. But an undercling, you kind of have to let go sooner because, you know, if you tried to hold on for longer while your arms get straighter, you're going to be pulling yourself down if you think about it, right? So the best way to jump out of this position I found was to do a two-step process. So we actually take the undercling, and rather than trying to pull ourselves up, because that's difficult to do with an undercling, I take myself back and I pull myself in with the undercling. And then the second step is that my legs push myself up. So the undercling and the arms, like the arm movement involved in this move, is not to pull ourselves up into the position we want to go. It's to pull ourselves in and just up enough to be directly above the footholds, and then I treat it as a separate move where my legs just push straight up, and that gets me in the perfect position. So the arms sort of direct ourselves where we want to go with the legs, and the legs take over and generate straight up, and that throws me into the position I kind of want. So let's pay attention to this on the next few tries. I think it's pretty evident, but you got to pay attention because while I'm thinking about it as a two-step process, it looks like one fluid movement because it's such a fast move and it's really hard to, you can't really actually break it up into two steps. It feels like it's two steps when you're doing it, and it feels like two steps in your mind, but it kind of looks like one step. So yeah, I think for most dynos out of an undercling on like sort of vert walls, you can sort of do this two-step process where the undercling is to pull ourselves in above the feet and the feet take over and push straight up. And yeah, that's today's tip of the day. And so we can see as I start to emphasize this, I start to get much closer to this move. And there's a lot of variance in these attempts as well. If I hit the crimp, like if my body is just a little bit too low, the crimp is not good enough to just, you know, hold a barn door. You need to be in the absolute perfect position to hold this this jump move. So that's why I think this move is like super, super cool. And I actually also start to find another little trick to help me on this move. Maybe you noticed on the past couple tries, I am like snagging this right toe hook on the volume. So here I finally stick it super, super hard, and then the right toe hook helps me just enough to stabilize in that position. And this finish is pretty tenuous. We got like kind of a sketchy piano match on this crimp. And I myself really don't vibe with piano matches, and I really struggle with them. I find my joints don't feel super, super healthy enough to just piano match like, you know, someone like a child would be able to. So I always get sketched out by intense piano matches. But luckily I was able to do that quite cool 3-star COMPCLIMB, and I've been psyched. I've been able to do most of the 3-star comp slabs at BETA BLOC, which has me like confident that I'm really leveling up my slab skills, I think, recently. And there have been some really, really tricky comp style slabs up at BETA BLOC recently, so I'm glad that I haven't been stumped too much by them. They definitely take a while to figure out, and I need to work on doing them faster, but like, let's take Zach from 2 years ago, I wouldn't be doing these boulders, so it feels good. That being said though, this 6 circuit 1 tier was like really hard. So this boulder, I looked at it and I thought, okay, I mean, it looks difficult, but I definitely didn't think it was going to be as hard as it turns out to be. And so this white slab here at BETA BLOC is like quite slabbed. Like it's not vert, obviously, it's really slabbed. So that is what's allowing me to actually balance on these tiny footholds. As you can see, it looks like it should just be impossible, but this wall is just slabbed enough that it allows this move to work. But that being said, you can see it's taken me like a really long time to stick this move, which I will finally do on this attempt here. And the way that I optimized for this move was to really sort of bring my pelvis back and sort of do like really a flick inwards with the hips. You can kind of see it there. And that allows me to bring my momentum into a good spot. But as you can see, like even when I start to hold the balance on this foot, you have to really fight to stay in that position. And then bringing the foot cross through here, like I'm trying, it just feels like I can't do that move. Very crazy. I definitely think that, you know, someone who's really good at slab would just eat this kind of boulder up. Like I almost felt like I was too large and I was just too big and I was being pushed away from the wall. So maybe someone a bit smaller would like that kind of move, and they would have like just that extra micro bit of room to play with and balance on that foot. And you know, that's the great thing about climbing, is that while I'd say probably for the most part being tall, you're gonna gain advantages more often, but there are definitely instances where being smaller will help you, and that is one of them. And so check out this move. We have just a super trendy spin around backwards move on the slab, which I actually have yet to get on. I've never had the chance to get on a boulder with this move, so I was psyched to see it at BETA BLOC, and I definitely felt like I learned a bit of the muscle memory for this move. So if I see it in an event, I'll know how to tackle it better. So here we are the next day at BLOC SHOP Hochelaga. And if you remember in our episode a few episodes ago, we had like a mega BLOC SHOP episode, but that was at the Chabanel location of BLOC SHOP. So this is the other one, BLOC SHOP Hochelaga, and I was told that they had some super hard white tapes up right now, so I definitely wanted to go check them out. So there are 2 white tapes up in the gym, and when I started warming up for the session, I was like quite gassed. Probably the most gassed, at least like sore, that I've been in the recent weeks in Montreal. And that's because we did like a lot of volume yesterday. We did like a lot of bouldering. I really went overtime. So I was feeling like just a little bit sore, not my most fresh. So what I decided to do, especially with this black boulder, because it is just like really hard looking and it climbed really hard, I decided that I just wanted to kind of mess around on it, suss out the moves, get a feel for it, and then I will come back after a rest day tomorrow, and then I will come back to BLOC SHOP Hochelaga and project the heck out of that black thing, because it is like super sick and I can't wait to go try that again. And so here we're looking at the other white tape. This one is the lower end of the white tape, and the black one is the upper end. So this one was luckily a bit easier on the grip strength. Like these holds are bad, but I don't have to like squeeze them really, really hard. So I was actually able to try this boulder, even though my grip was like a little bit sore. This one was quite technical and actually maybe more powerful in the lower body than the upper body. Okay, no, it's more powerful in the lower body and like the pecs than it is in the grip. Like I don't actually have to grip really hard on this boulder, which allowed me to try it. So here I am making my way through the crux in the middle for the first time, and I'm finding that this like bumping up to the jib is super, super low percentage and inconsistent. As you can see, I'm like going back and forth between whether or not I can stick it or if I don't have a good position. But then the most cruxy part of the boulder, I think, is actually getting this knee bar. So as you'll see, as I'm trying this sequence, I'm trying to, oh, by the way, this is Toma. He is a friend of mine and a climber at BLOC SHOP. He also works here. And so he hooked me up with this working jug, which was super important because all of the attempts you've seen so far were from the ground, and I was really starting to struggle. And it is like very difficult to send a boulder like this without sussing out the moves individually. So he hooked me up with this working jug so I could try the ending more. And he was also helping me with the beta as well because he's super strong and he was trying this boulder. So here you can see I tried to set a knee bar on the first side pull there to go again with my hand so that I could move my knee bar into the next hold, which is like a super, super sick sequence. Like whoever set this boulder was cooking. Like this boulder is really fire. But Toma was saying that I should try to just set the far knee bar from the closer hand. So I'm gonna switch to that beta later, and I realized that he is correct, and it is indeed better. But this foothold with the left is like really, really bad. As you can see, I'm taking a slip off that. It is probably the crux of this boulder is the foothold, because it is just so bad. Feels like it's gonna slip at any time. And so like every try, you're just praying that it doesn't slip. You're toeing in super, super hard, and the knee bar does not feel super secure, and it makes it really hard. And man, you can see it. I'm like taking a fall off this kind of last move. That left hand crimp is super small and kind of slopey actually. And so yeah, this boulder, there are like no easy moves on it. You have to be trying consistently hard throughout the whole thing. And that's what makes the white tapes at BLOC SHOP, honestly. And that's why they're so, like it feels like such an achievement when I can send one of these, because there are no easy moves on these boulders. You're trying hard throughout the whole way. Here I am trying really hard to finally stick this move. Oh yes, I'm gonna send it. Oh man, I'm gonna send this white tip at BLOC SHOP. I'm so psyched that I'm gonna send the white tape at BLOC SHOP. No, I can't. I just can't top out. This is the second time this has happened to me. In the like a couple episodes ago or something, I fell on a BLOC SHOP top out at Chabanel. Man, that was triggering. So listen, you know me, I like to, even if I fall on finish matches or finish move droppers, I like to just try the boulder again because I want to send things, and that sort of thing is really triggering. But this is where I draw the line. I can't try the boulder again because of the top out. That's just, I'm closing the chapter with the boulder, no send. COMPCLIMB can't top out, that's me. Man, that was really sad. But that boulder was sick, and I was happy that I could almost send it and really work on some cool technical moves. Like I said, whoever set that boulder, absolutely cooking, super sick. And also, if you recall, in the episode where we were having like our mega video on BLOC SHOP Shab, I kind of mentioned how the white tapes at Hochelaga were usually softer than Chabanel. Looks like the setters are also deciding to switch that up, because these white tapes were like Chabanel level white tapes, and they were super, super hard. And I've been talking to the head setter, Caleb Thomas. I think he's the head setter at Chabanel. I don't know if he's the head setter at Hochelaga. No, I think he's just the head setter at Chabanel. I could be wrong. But he's obviously part of the BLOC SHOP setting crew, and he is psyched to make the white tapes harder at Hochelaga. And clearly they're already starting that now, because these ones are super hard, and I can't wait to come back and try the black. And I'm just accepting defeat on the red one. So tomorrow's a rest day for me. Gotta heal up my pink tips, because even after the 2 days, oh, did I mention that? No, yeah, so I took my 2 days of rest before this episode, because my skin was in carnage after, trying that yellow boulder for so many times. So I did take my 2 days of rest. I had all of these sessions, and now it's just back to where it was. I can't take another 2 days off, so I'll just see if I can get by with 1 day of rest, and then we'll come back to Block Shop, try the block again. So you can look forward to that. Insert catchy video outro here.